Alrighty guys, I am pulled over. I'm on my way to Tennessee. Last night I spent the night by my friend Michelle in Kentucky. I wanted to make this second video to tell you the rest of the story from what happened at Bushy's. It's been storming a lot. And so what happened was the grand thing that happened at Bushy's. Some of you guys know, and for those of you who don't, it's not going to take long to recap. There was a situation when I left Wisconsin, when God started me out on this journey. Hold on one second. He told me that I was to to leave with what fit in my car. And so most of you guys know the story about the BB-8 pillow that I had. He's a character from Star Wars, and I had a BB-8 pillow. Someone had got me, and God told me not to take it, and I was gonna anyway. And when I reached in a box to pull it off, the head came off, because that's what happens when you don't listen. And so, and that was the end of it. How things get ruined in our hands. So, I had to get together this past Saturday at Bushy's. I had some friends that I met up with, and Neil Panosian and Shannon Nemi are the said criminals. Sassiness. What they did was, they got together and they bought me a BB-8 pillow. And there's more to it than that. I'm not getting all emotional over just a pillow. There's something a lot deeper with it. And the best part of all is that it ended up being the same exact pillow that was ruined in my hands. And so the story behind it is, okay, a year ago, there was a situation I was in that was very painful that I went through, where the end result was going to be that I was losing a very dear friend. And so there were things that happened, and so there was a Friday night, and my friend and I had a conversation through Facebook. We were messaging, and at the end of that conversation, I knew in my heart that I was never going to hear from them again. The situation was completely hopeless, and there was nothing left that I could do. And so I knew it was over, but I prayed one last prayer and gave up on it all, because there was like a point of no return. And so, but I prayed, and I went to bed, and overnight God turned the entire situation around. And not only was it that he turned the entire situation around, he did it exactly how I prayed. The exact thing that I prayed for is how he turned it around. And so it was a very special day, and ended up turning into something even way more special, because that's just who God is. And it was the most beautiful and precious and special thing to me. So that was a year ago. So this past Saturday was the year mark of last year, when everything had turned around overnight. And so leading up to that day, I had prayed, and I said, God, Saturday's coming up, and I know that the situation isn't the same anymore, but it's still a special day. There's something really awesome that you did. And so I'm asking you to do something special for me on that day, on Saturday. And so when I saw the pillow in the bag, because it's the same exact situation, and I am awed at how thoughtful God is. It's the same exact situation because BB-8, it was in my heart, and I believed that I lost him. It was a hopeless situation, and God restored him, just like he did last year with my friend. And everything was restored. And God is so awesome. And I'm so grateful that I made it really through that story without crying on the phone, on the camera. Because whenever I talk about it, I can't help but cry because it's so amazing. It's so amazing. And that's the God that we serve. Also, another thing that God restored this time is back. I had planned like the beginning of June. I wanted to go and visit my best friend Gloria in Ohio, where she lives, and it fell through because of other situations and me starting out on this journey. And so it sucked, but we had to let it go, and it didn't happen. And now it just so happened that the trip that I had to take now, I was coming through Ohio. See, is another thing that was lost. And God, in his timing and in his way, that's the whole thing. The whole thing with the BB-8 pillow and everything. It was his timing. Everything has to be his way, his timing, because then it's perfect. And then it's everything that it's meant to be. When we get our hands involved, it just ruins and screws everything up. And so it was an awesome thing. One of the things when I left, hold on one second. When I left during my trip now, not when I initially left Wisconsin, but just recently when I'd stopped in and I was leaving, going on my way to Ohio, something really awesome happened. And I know it's probably going to sound stupid to a lot of people, but it's awesome to me. Because I was taking a roundabout way, I planned on staying the night in Gary, Indiana. And I didn't want to pay tolls. No, your tolls, Chicago, Illinois, your tolls are stupid. There's like so many of them, and no. So I did like all these side highways and stuff. And I ended up only paying one toll at the very end to get out and go into Indiana, and it was 60 cents. Heck yes. And so that's all I had to pay. But because I was going a roundabout way, I couldn't use Google Maps because they would be, you know, common sense and send me the shortest route. So I charted out from where I was in Wisconsin all the way to Gary, Indiana by myself. And it's awesome because part of with the illness that I have, things get just, normally I wouldn't have been able to do it. I just get so overwhelmed, and like there's too many ways to go and too many, and I just, my brain like literally just shuts down because it's overload and too much for me to handle. And I did it. And so it's so awesome. This whole thing, since I left Wisconsin, I've had so many firsts. First time driving in all these states, oh my word. First time playing softball. First time going to Mississippi. Just so many things. I charted this map out. And there's this is going to be, tonight is going to be my first tent revival. And so it's just been amazing. My first time I drove my car off the road on accident, of course. Not on purpose. First time I saw an angel. And so it's just been amazing. So I wanted to quick talk about some of the changes in me that have taken place since I left Wisconsin and God called me out and God called me on this journey. It's just crazy. I am so grateful to him. I wrote some of them down. There's so many. My relationship with God has gotten so much more intimate and closer. Of course, in this situation, it has to, you know, when you're just dependent on him for like everything, and you have to know his voice and you have to follow his leading. And so it's just become a wonderful thing. And one of the things that changed about that is, and I didn't even, it wasn't even anything I thought of. One day I was praying and it just came out of my mouth. And where I just started calling him Daddy. And it's been an amazing thing. And so God capped it off because recently was Father's Day. And my pastor's wife gave me 2 sheets of paper, and she said she wanted me to read one of them. And so I read them, and they're like poems for fathers. And initially I'm reading it like, this is all foreign to me because I don't know the love of a father. I don't know. So this is like speaking a foreign language. And I didn't really know what to do. And at that moment, that was God who had her give me that to read, because it was a breaking point that I needed. It was a breakthrough. It was a point in time where I had to make a decision. And God gave me a different perspective. And I thought, what am I talking about? Heck yes, I know the love of a father. And so I got up there and I read it with all my heart to my daddy. And it was awesome. It was a time of growth for me. So much. Oh, this is like so much has been growth. And one of the things is I've been able to get closer with God also, to just have this relationship that's so unique with him where we can laugh and joke. And so after I started out on this journey, God gave me a reminder one day of a promise that he made to me a long time ago. And it was almost as if to say, you got all this stuff going on, all this stuff that has caused you pain. I'm going to stick this in here to help you know that you might have forgotten about this, but I didn't. And this is still here. And so it's gotten to the point now where basically on a daily basis, I get a reminder about this promise. And just off the wall crazy things. And you're like, no. And I've shared some with certain people and they're like, And last night, like I said, I stayed in Kentucky with my friend Michelle, and I shared some with her and she cried. And so it really helps me too to say, okay, do you see? It's not me. I'm not going crazy. Like, this is really, like, this stuff, you can't reason this away. Like, this is bizarre. And so there was one time I was driving, I took a wrong turn. And God decided to be funny that day. He does that sometimes. He decides to, a fiddler on the roof. Reb Tevye, he said that one time. And he's like, sometimes when it gets too quiet up there, I think you say to yourself, let's see what kind of mischief I can play on my friend Tevye. And so, that's kind of like what it is. And so what happened is, so I took a wrong turn. And I drive right into this place. The name of the place is directly related to my promise, okay? But here's the thing. The place where it was located was so off, like, one of these things is doing their own thing, okay? It did not belong there. It'd be like an igloo maker setting up shop in Florida, okay? This place had no business being there. And then to top it off, how the lot was set up, you couldn't just be like, oh, let me go out. You had to drive in it and turn around and come out. I'm like, oh, this is, okay, I see. And God kept doing this. So then the other night when I stayed in Indiana, I'm in Indiana. Keep that. Indiana. That's where I am. I'm in Indiana. And I grabbed a key card holder and I go up to my room and I set it down on the table. And as I set it down on the table, I look at the holder and somebody just, no. Okay, somebody took a pen and wrote one word on the key card holder, and the word was about my promise. I took a picture of it and I sent it to my friends. They're like, so just today, I'm not even playing. I'm just not playing. Just today, I'm driving after I leave Michelle's house. And then I start going through this town and I'm like, I've been in it for a while. I was in the town for a while, and then it clicked with me. Oh, that's right. I wanted to find a place to pull over so I could make this video, the second video. And so I said, I'll start looking for a side street. The first side street that I came to, the name of the street was exactly related to my promise. This stuff happens daily, guys. And so I have this thing with God. He'll start doing this stuff, right? Like I said, it's almost on a daily basis, pretty much. And so he started doing this, and then it comes, and it's like half and half, because sometimes it gives me hope and sometimes it just hurts, because you just still, you know, like any promise God gives you, you don't know when. You don't know when it's going to happen. And so sometimes, you know, it's like, oh, is this cool? And then other times it's like, oh, yeah. And so then sometimes if it's like in that moment where I'm not really happy about it, you know, then I'll just look up to God and I'll say, you think you're funny, don't you? You think you're funny. And then I paused and I said, you are funny, but you're grounded. And so when I saw that street name, when I was driving through the town earlier, I told him, I was like, I just want to let you know, God, you're still grounded. You think you're funny. And so it's been great to be able to become this close to God and have this type of relationship with him, to just be myself. And God does have a sense of humor, and there's stuff he does for me that shows his sense of humor and his love. Oh, so here's another change. I'm so excited. This change actually started before I left, but was tested once I left. So I have a horrid problem. I've grown a lot, but I had a horrid problem of never standing up for myself. And so people walk all over me, control, manipulate, everything. And so there was a situation that I went through this past December, and it was horrid. And I had a sweet, dear friend of mine give me a piece of advice. And, you know, so it stuck with me. And then this past April, I think it was in April, someone messaged me, inboxed me on Facebook. And it was someone from my past, and they were just being nasty. And it was an attempt to manipulate and control and intimidate me. And initially, you know, I started like feeling the stress and anxiety, and then instantly I heard my friend's voice and the advice that he gave me. And I just calmed the whole thing down. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And so then recently, this past Saturday, someone else sent me a text on my phone, just so sarcastic. And again, the intimidation and manipulation and control in the comments. And so I did something. And I wish that my friend knew. And I wish afterwards, I was like, dude, I would give him a big fat kiss on the cheek. He deserves a punch in the face too, so I don't know what I do, which one I do first, but seriously though. So this is what happened. I got this text. It was Saturday. Today is Wednesday. Dude, I didn't reply. And I'm not gonna. Like, you don't even know how liberating that is for me to be like, nope, I ain't got time for this. So that's the other change. God has helped me. I gotta watch my time. Okay. God has helped me be able to recognize distractions. I got to Memphis, and it was a long day, and I don't have AC, and I had been driving, and then I had to figure out how to get to church, and it was just like I was so stressed to the max. And in that moment, see, the devil knows when to come. So in that moment, this lady inboxes me on Facebook to say that she wants me to unfriend her husband because she don't, you know, trying to insinuate stuff. I'm like, yeah, you know me. You know, just, I'm like, dude, what? You know, and It was so bizarre. And I couldn't even explain it. And so I could feel the stress rising up. And then all of a sudden, because it's been happening so much, because God's trying to teach me, then I was like, this is a distraction. Something awesome is going to happen tonight. Forget this. I went on Facebook. I unfriended him. I unfriended her. I'm like, done. I'm not doing this stuff. Okay. And just liberating. Just so liberating to be able to say, I don't owe anybody an explanation about anything. I don't have time for juvenile, immature crap. And so, you know, I just was able to let it go. And so God has been putting me in situations where where I need to, where I have to stand up for myself. And so I am really looking forward to this trip to Tennessee, to this tent revival, and can't wait to see everything that God's going to do. And while I am excited, honestly, I just cannot wait to be back home. I think once I get back home, I'm going to sleep for like a week. I've been, so today has been 8 days since I left home in Memphis, and I've driven through 8 states, 9 states in 8 days. So I just really want to go home. But I'm looking forward to tonight. It's just been a journey, an absolute journey. It's helping me become a better person. It's helping me have more value in myself, and not put up with crap, and not put up with people who can't respect me. And it's just been phenomenal. And so I think I'll stop there. I can get back on the road again. And I hope you guys have a great day. I love you all. God bless you. Bye.